Welcome back to the Alien Spaceship Talk Show podcast. And in case you're just joining us, you're listening to the Alien Spaceship Talk Show podcast with Emmy, Hikins, and Trevor.
The feeling in life that if you don't cause disruption, if you don't make people sit up and think, then nothing will ever change. I mean, I guess to get significant change in any part of life, in national life, is like turning around an oil tanker. It can take a long, long time, as it did with the suffragettes. It took at least one of them dying, and obviously lots of disruption elsewhere. And you get the feeling that it was the suffragettes rather than the peaceful side of it, the suffragists, who probably achieved eventually what they did achieve. But even then it took over 30 years to achieve that. So it depends, I guess, what the subject matter is. And as life goes on and we look at, it's no wonder why, femininity, the feminism movement came about, because women were so clearly disadvantaged for many hundreds of years. And some would say in some ways maybe still are. I think probably great strides have been made towards equality. But if we just look at women's football as a case in point, and I mean, you and I, we often talk about women's football on our other podcast and on this one, because we like it. We think it's a good spectacle, good to watch. But what is interesting about it is the way they were banned from playing by the FA for 50 years. Now, it's, again, after the First World War, where they'd done great things in the men's absence. They also played sport. And what I think not many people really know, and I didn't until I saw this, was that women's football after the First World War was bigger and more popular than men's football. Find that hard to believe or not, but it was. And in fact, there was a women's match in 1920 or 21 between somebody called Dick Kerr's Ladies FC against St Helens FC, and they had the spectators numbered 53,000, which was the highest number of spectators attending any event ever since their records had begun. Now that was a women's football match. Well, the FA then and now, they don't get a good press now, but they couldn't handle this. And they issued a statement which said, the game of football is wholly unsuitable to be played by females and ought not to be encouraged. And with that, following this massive crowd that had watched them, and they loved women's football generally in those times, they banned women from having football clubs, from playing football in 1921. Now, that actually was finally lifted in 1971, 50 years later, and that's 54 years ago. So they were not allowed to play football because of the FA, the powers that be there, decided that women, it's not suitable for them to play. So again, you can see how pressure has built up for women's rights, and nowadays, I guess we could say a lot of it has been achieved. I mean, gender roles in relationships, they're more fluid, aren't they? Sometimes a man might stay at home and bring up kids, and the woman goes out to work or whatever, and rightly so, whichever way around they choose to do it. But I suspect that many women would still feel that the gender roles are still a bit stacked in men's favour, just the way it can be perceived. So there's still some way to go. But with regard to the football, more recently, Chelsea women's team, they won a few weeks ago the Women's FA Cup. Do you know how much their prize from the FA was?
No.
£25,000. Now, a few weeks ago, again, as you well know, 25,000 was the prize, the award they got for winning the Women's FA Cup, right? From the authorities. Well, just remind me, cuz, which was the men's team that won the FA Cup recently? Oh yes, it was my team, wasn't it? It was Crystal Palace. Well, do you know how much they got? A men's team to win the FA Cup?
How much?
1.8 million. 1.8 million pounds. So the 25,000 is not much more than 1% of what the men got. Now, you know, the crowd was a big crowd there, about 48,000 at Wembley to watch Chelsea. Obviously, the men's were about 85,000. That's kind of a full house. Yeah. So Chelsea got 25,000. Now, there's another men's competition called the FA Vase, you've probably heard of, and that's a much lesser competition than the FA Cup, but still played, I believe, at Wembley. And the winners this year were Warrington Rylands up in Warrington there. And their prize money, bearing in mind Chelsea ladies got 25,000.
Yeah.
The Warrington team, with a crowd of 6,000, got just under £48,000, pretty much double what Chelsea got. Now, I only say these numbers not to have.
The Alien Spaceship Talk Show podcast is looking for sponsors. If you're a company out there looking to spread the word about the products and services you provide, please get in touch with Deepstuff Radio Podcast on info@deepstuffrecords.com, or to use the contact form on our website to contact us, please visit radio.deepstuffrecords.com. Also, if you're looking to get involved on the Alien Spaceship Talk Show podcast, reach out via our Deepstuff Radio Facebook page. Thank you.